We just had the Bitcoin halving, which is taking place during the worst economic downturn since the Great Depression. It's really going to end up being known as the Great Depression 2, if not the Greater Depression, although perhaps that might come at a later date. We saw halving day 2020 arrive in similar economic circumstances to the release of Bitcoin, the initial release of Bitcoin back in 2008, 2009 during the global financial crisis. But right now, we've seen the great lockdown, as the IMF calls the coronavirus response, lead to the worst economic downturn. Now, could halving day 2020, as well as the uncertain economic environment, create the perfect environment in which to increase awareness and adoption around Bitcoin? I think so, but we should really take this as an opportunity to increase knowledge and awareness of alternative assets in general, as well as the true nature of money. Why promote Bitcoin when you could promote notions about the centralization of money creation in general and the ill effects that has had on people all across the globe, and then lead people to this notion of there being a need for alternatives? Bitcoin will be there for them to discover right away, as well, in my opinion, gold and silver. The Bitcoin network continues to grow in strength and the price continues its upward trend after the halving. I think that the general public is going to consider Bitcoin and blockchain not one-off trends, but long-term cyclical phenomena. As Munib Ali, founder and CEO of Blockstack, puts it, quote, Bitcoin was born during an economic crisis, and it is fitting that it's about to have its most visible test before the general public ever, during a similar, if not more dangerous, financial calamity. Now, Bank of America Securities predicts the Federal Reserve will print between $8 and $10 trillion to steady the U.S. economy, which has already lost 50 million jobs. As Ali says, quote, it has never been a more fitting time to let people genuinely ponder the benefits of Bitcoin. While Bitcoin halves, average citizens, especially in Western societies, are being forced to consider the question, quote, what is money? As governments are artificially propping up the stock market to save people's pensions and checks for every household are being printed out of thin air. The illusion of sound money is being laid bare for the world to see. Ali notes that this halving day holds significance beyond the coronavirus backdrop. Bitcoin use cases have evolved since the last halving too. Quote, you have smart contract platforms that are relying on the Bitcoin network for security purposes, he said. If Bitcoin's network strength continues after the halving, I anticipate even more and more projects anchoring themselves to the Bitcoin blockchain as its durability becomes more undeniable. A resilient Bitcoin network post-halving could perhaps increase the rate at which proof-of-work mining consolidates around Bitcoin, contends Ali. Quote, as the Bitcoin network continues to grow in hash power and alternative options are made available, like proof of transfer or proof of stake, native proof-of-work mining will make less and less sense, he said. There was a time from 2011 to 2016 or so when new POW-based projects could even attempt taking a crack at Bitcoin's dominance. They didn't have a chance. This is today no longer the case. Today they don't have a chance. Quote, if it emerges stronger post-halving, Bitcoin's position could further strengthen. The area that is less explored is how a stable POW reserve cryptocurrency like Bitcoin can enable further innovation so new projects don't need to reinvent the wheel and can simply reuse the security of Bitcoin, said Ali. Now, Hong Feng, a CEO of digital asset trading platform OKCoin, sees this halving as different from the last halvings due to the coronavirus pandemic and related economic downturn as well. Quote, the supply change itself is telegraphed, but this time with investors looking for an alternative asset to the stock and fixed income markets, coupled with the major increase in attention on crypto since 2016, it will be by far the highest profile halving event yet, she says. Quote, the long-standing pro-BTC discussions around hard money are increasingly relevant right now. Rob Odell, Chief Product Officer of blockchain-backed loan platform Salt, sees halving day 2020 as significant for two reasons. For starters, with the time between each halving event, the awareness and adoption of Bitcoin grows significantly. Quote, this halving is no different, he said. The evidence of this wider adoption can be seen all over the place, from live stream events to the number of wallets that hold BTC to the explosive growth of exchange platforms such as Coinbase. In the current landscape we're experiencing as a result of the global response to the COVID-19 crisis, we're seeing fiat currencies inflate at rapid rates as governments print more money in an attempt to manage the economic fallout caused by the pandemic. Odell says this is exactly the type of manipulation Satoshi was aiming to prevent in the creation of Bitcoin. And it's why these halving events are built into Bitcoin's code base and monetary policy. So you'll see at this time when we're expanding government, central bank books, Bitcoin is halving and showing the deflationary nature of this network. So to quote Odell, Bitcoin is deflationary by design, and recent events are magnifying the attention to that.